most of us know what this is, but I don't think most of us know how to use it. This is a brake control. Maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't. If you do know what it is, are you using it properly? Do you know how to adjust it? I think many people don't know how to use it, whether you've been towing for a while or maybe you are new to the towing industry. You need to know how to properly use this to get the most bang for your buck and to keep everything safe on your trip. So when it comes to brake controllers, there are a lot of different options out there. There's a lot of different brands on the market. I really am a fan of Takancha and Red Arc. That's really all I run in our vehicles. On the heavy side of things, I prefer Takancha. On overlanding, on some of the smaller applications, I like the Red Arc because they work great. They're small, they install easily if you're having to use the aftermarket application. And then in the factory towing world, there are factory brake controllers. If you've watched any of our videos, I'm not a fan of all of those. Sometimes those work great, sometimes they're temperamental and they don't fit your needs. If you are running a factory controller, my suggestion to you is to use it before you go out and spend any money. If it works great for you and it seems to be working every time, then great. It works great for your setup, but maybe you have a heavier trailer that is just not working for. And at that point, you may need to make the decision, do your research in order to do an aftermarket controller. I will say in some of the vehicles, Dodge or Ram and Ford, some of those work great. Some of those even have electric or hydraulic options. And that brings up another topic. If you're pulling a unit that has electric or hydraulic brakes, you need to make sure you have a controller that's compatible with that. Not all aftermarket controllers are compatible, and for sure not all factory controllers are compatible. So if you're gonna be running that, and we see that on boats, we see that on RVs, and there's standard utilities and cargos, so make sure you have the right controller. But what it all boils down to is make sure you know how to adjust it for different loads, for different trailers, for different environments, whether that be weather, whether that be terrain, maybe you're going to the mountains. So we're gonna try to keep this as simple as possible. Not gonna go super in depth, but just enough to get you generally started, or at least to spark your interest in, hey, maybe I need to go out and read my owner's manual, look at some videos, just spend some time with the unit. I suggest that before you make that first tow, especially if you're new to towing, spend some time with the brake controller. It will save you some maintenance. It will save you some money. It may even save your life or someone else's. It's very important to know how to use this. When I first started installing brake controls, they were hydraulically actuated. They actually tied into the brake system of the tow vehicle. Then we went to electric controllers that were just an analog version. You can still buy those today. The Takancha Voyager still makes that. It's a good controller. It's simple. It does not have digital display. I prefer a digital display, even if you're buying just an entry-level controller. I think it's just easier to remember the numbers than the color of the lights. And if you're colorblind, it's gonna be tough on that because it just goes between red, green, and amber. So this here is a P2, this is a P3. Takancha also makes a Primus IQ. The Primus IQ would be a good entry-level controller that's gonna fit a lot of your needs. These are gonna be for some heavier hauling and for electric over hydraulic applications. That being said, most of them have the same functions, even though they may have a different button to toggle or to dial to make it work, but they have the same function. The first thing to do, and we're gonna kind of cover this and we'll get in a pickup and we'll go over it again with a factory GM controller. So the first thing you do once you plug in, so right there it says NC, that means not connected. When you first get in the vehicle, if you're running Takancha Primus up to a P3, it's just gonna have a dot. If you were to hit the brakes or hit the manual, it's gonna show not connected. And then when you plug up, it's gonna show C for connected. That's one of the things I like over some of the cheaper controllers we see on the market. They have a light or they have a digital display, no matter if you're hooked up or not. So you really don't know if it's working or not unless you can feel it. So once you're connected, that's where we have to make our adjustments. And the way you have to do that, you actually have to be moving on the tow vehicle to do that. And we're gonna show that shortly, but I'm gonna go over a few of these and then we will hit it again in the actual as if we were actually pulling the trailer down. So you have a couple different switches. Some may have 2, some may have 3. This one has a bunch of different applications, but you're gonna have a gain. Most controllers today are gonna have a boost, and then you're gonna have your manual override. You're gonna have some type of lever. This is for a couple of applications. This helps you to set your brakes. This is also could be used in a situation if you need to supply power just to the unit that you're towing, Or if maybe you don't have your load great and you're getting a little bit of road walking, you can feather this just to the trailer just to help you kind of get straightened up, help get your unit under control so that you can safely get off the road and maybe reposition that load, or maybe your weight distribution hitch is off, or maybe you just need to slow down a little bit. So that's what that would be good for. There's a lot of videos on this. I've seen some literature, even from some manufacturers, to set it to where if it locks it up, it's too hot. If it doesn't lock it up, it's not enough, so make it to where it locks it up. I'm not going to name who puts that out there, but it's really a little more complicated than that, but not much more. You do not want your electric brakes to lock up. If you were to apply braking and they lock up, it's going to skid, and it's not going to work with the trailer. That could be dangerous, especially if it's raining, or if you have any type of moisture on the road. It could cause you to lose it. So this is going to be your gain. This controller goes all the way up to 11, all the way to 0. I like to start around 5. If you want to go 6, that's fine too, or you can start around 4. So just say you're going to start around 5. And what that will do, that's going to give you the maximum voltage supplied. So if you were to jam on your brakes, that's all that's going to go to the back. So it's not going to put out 11, it's not going to put out 12. If you were to slam on your brakes and need full braking capacity, that's what it's going to have. And that's where it comes. That's where it's really important. You don't want to set it too low, but you for sure don't want to set it too high. This controller is basically, you and the controller are going to learn your unit. I'm going to say it's going to be more you learning the unit you're towing than the controller, even on a smart controller. So the way that's going to work, if you have it set on 4.8 and you're one of those people that gets a lot of life out of the brakes in your tow vehicle, you slow to a stop, you give yourself plenty of braking distance, you may hit the brakes and this may only show 1, 2, or 3 volts. It's feeling that inertia, it's feeling that push from the vehicle being towed to the tow vehicle, so it's not going to give you all 4.8. But say somebody pulls out in front of you or an animal runs out in front of you and you have to slam on the brakes, it's going to give you all of it. It's going to put it all back there. It's going to help you come to a stop. Now that being said, where we see a lot of problems, if you're a good operator, you could in theory run that to 11. I have some guys that pull professionally, they can leave their controller on 11 all the time and they would have no issues. They give themselves plenty of stopping distance. If they needed it, it would give the full power. Here's the 2 problems. If your brakes are in perfect operating condition, that's going to be too much voltage, likely going to cause a lockup. If you're one of those people that wait till the last minute to stop, whether that just be exiting the highway, just coming up to a stop sign, if you jam on the brakes at the last minute, it's going to put all that back there. It's going to overheat your brakes, could cause lockup. So I don't suggest running it on 10 or 11 for most people. Most of the time, if I see somebody running on 10 when they come in, their brakes are out of adjustment, they're worn out, they have it on 10 just to try to get something. So we've covered the gain, we've covered the manual override. Now many of them will have this button. It may be totally different than this. This is a boost button. So if I were to push this on Takancha, it's going to give B, that's just going to be standard braking. Push it again, it's going to be B1, B2, B3. This is a very useful tool. Many times I see it overused and abused, but what that does, if you put it on B2, it's going to give you a little initial braking. So it's going to send the power just a little bit quicker than being on standard braking. So if you're hauling a heavier RV or something like that, it may be beneficial to you. If you're going to somewhere that's got terrain, maybe you've got mountains, or maybe you've just got up and down hills, you may want to be in a B1 or a B2. If you're pulling something very heavy, maybe you're in terrain, you may have to go up to B3. The only way to know that is using this. There's no literature that's going to give you the exact need for that. I can't tell you. I couldn't get in there with you and show you. You're going to have to feel it. Just like this controller and your truck is feeling the trailer braking, you have to learn what your trailer feels like, how it should be braking, and we're going to cover that, what to look for here shortly. But that's what that boost function is. On your factory controllers, you're not likely going to have a boost setting on the controller, but many of the vehicles today will have the option under settings. They're going to give you the option of light braking, heavy braking. Then if you have the option of electric or hydraulic, they're going to give you a light and heavy on that as well. So that's where you would utilize the braking. So if you're hauling a small trailer, say 3,500 pound axle's got brakes on one axle, you're going to need more of a lighter braking. But if you're hauling something, a tandem dual or a fifth wheel or a heavy bumper pull travel trailer, you may need to utilize that boost boost 1, 2, or 3, or the heavy trailer option on the factory side of it. Again, the biggest thing on here is going to be you. You're going to learn, you're going to feel, you're going to know what it looks like. You're going to know if you smell brakes, you're getting them too hot. It's just going to be some practice. You got to spend a little time. So I encourage you, especially if you're going out and buying a new truck and trailer, just make sure that you've given yourself ample opportunity to practice with it. You've got all the knowledge that you can get in order to implement that so you have a good trip. So after you've hooked up to your trailer and you're ready to go, there's some that will say get up to 25 miles an hour. I'm going to say start out a little lower than that. I prefer to go about 10, maybe 15 for this first function we're going to do. Then if you're good there, then you can bump it up to 25 and we'll cover that. So I'm going to like to start around 4 or 5. Let's just say 5 to keep it easy. It could be a little less, a little more. You want to get to about 10 miles an hour as you're driving, and you're going to want to hit the manual control on the brakes and feel the trailer. If it locks the tires up, then that's going to be too much. I'm going to tell you right now. If you don't feel anything, you're going to need to increase that. I would say 1 or 2 numbers on that. Once you get there, you're not locking up. You can feel it some. Then get up to about that 25 mile an hour mark and then hit the manual control to see if you can feel the brakes and make sure you have no lockup. You don't want to have any lockup. What you do want, you want to feel the trailer and the truck together. So if the trailer feels like it's pushing your vehicle, you need more brakes. If it feels like it's pulling your vehicle back, then you have too much brakes on the trailer. The key is to have the truck and trailer work together. Now, if you're in a situation to where you do have some terrain or a heavier load, you can use that boost and it may activate the trailer a little sooner. That's okay, but you don't want the trailer to stop the truck and you don't want the truck to stop the trailer. You're gonna wear the brakes out on one of those, however you're doing it. So I prefer about 10 or 15 miles an hour. You know, if you have gravel, it is easier to slide the tires on the gravel. So if you have a hard surface, that's what I prefer. You can do it on gravel, but just make sure you don't have lockup at that 10 or 15 miles an hour. Then increase it to 25 miles an hour just to get your feel. Once you get that set, hey, I can feel my trailer, but it's not holding me back. It's not pushing me forward. That's a great starting point. That's what you're looking for. Now, after you get on the road, you need to keep that in mind, especially for the first, few miles or, 50 to 100 miles. If you're in traffic, every time you stop, see if you can make sure you're not being pushed or you're being pulled back. You may need to make an adjustment. If you're going somewhere where the weather changes, it gets more humid or it gets less humid, you may notice some different braking. So even after you get it completely set, you're going to have to adjust that throughout your trip or throughout your day, just as if you were to change the load weight on your trailer. As time goes on and you put more miles, you're going to have some brake wear. You may have to increase that factory setting as well. You may go from a 5 to a 6 or from a 6 to a 7. So it's not a one size fits all, and that's where a lot of it comes in. It's just like everything else. Everything's auto. Your headlights come on automatic. Now our park brakes come on automatic. If you hate the electronic park brake, leave me a comment below. If you know how to disable that in a good way, leave me a comment below because I'm about to pull mine out with a claw hammer. So that's my rant for the day. But spend some time, especially if you're new to this, and maybe you're travel trailering and you're pulling into a state park or something like that. Utilize some of them roads just to feel that braking, just to get more comfortable with it and to know what you're feeling for. But if you're sliding the tires, it's way too hot. If you don't feel anything at all, it's not hot enough. You just got to find that fine line. You just want the tow vehicle and the trailer to work together and just adjust it as needed. That's really all there is to it. Be sure to check the links out below. We'll leave some brake controllers that we prefer. We'll leave some tools down there. Leave us a comment if you know how to disable that parking brake on the truck. Leave us a comment with your issues on there. Keep watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you down the road.